everyone, I'm Mrs. Midnight, and now that Halloween just passed, I bring you a countdown of the events dedicated to this season of the year in our favorite game for mobiles. So if you still have candy from Halloween, unlike me that I don't have self-control, go get it and subscribe to the channel, because it's time to begin our countdown of Halloween events in Hogwarts Mystery, from the worst to the best. Duel of the Anniversaries that you unlock on the second chapter of Year 2, and the prizes are dancing waltz with Morning Myrtle and a ghost outfit. Although I honestly must say that I did like hanging out with the ghosts, learning more about them, and simply spending time with characters of the game that are constantly in Hogwarts but we take for granted or overlook, the one thing I criticize from this quest that even some of my Midnighters dislike as well is that despite including ghosts that are a concept directly related to Halloween, it hardly feels like a Halloween event, because other than coming out in October and having ghosts, more than Halloween the plot seems to be related to an ego quarrel between nearly beheaded Nick and Erling the Great, who honestly for me is more like Erling the Great idiot, but at any rate, it becomes more a quarrel between him and Nick, leaving the rest of the ghosts aside like they mattered less. The Secrets of Godric Hollow that you unlock on the third chapter of the third year, and as a prize you receive an autographed copy of History of Magic by Bathilda Bagshot. In this mission you have to save the Halloween banquet because Merula almost ruins it when she decides to steal the Gryffindor sword, which infuriates the ghost of the Goblin Ragnuk, who curses Merula and refuses to forgive her. So you resort to the historian Bathilda Bagshot, who gives you valuable information about Ragnuk and allows you to save Merula by giving peace to his soul. The Halloween Banquet or Night with Wolves that you unlock in the 8th chapter of the first year. In this mission, Hogwarts is attacked by a pack of werewolves, led by Fenrir Greyback himself. And besides rescuing Kiara and starting to gain her trust, you also meet Cecil Lee, Barnaby's uncle, who in the end makes you a member of the unit of capture of werewolves and gives you a uniform as a prize. A harpy in Hogsmeade that you unlock on the 5th year. The pumpkins of Hagrid's garden suddenly rot, and when inspecting them you discover that the vegetable outside looks fine, but once you open them, they are completely rotten inside. So searching you discover that the same is happening to everybody in Hogsmeade, and when you and your friends discover that there is a harpy in the area, everybody concludes immediately that it's the harpy that's cursing the harvest, but it actually turns out to be Alistar, a dark wizard, that has been cursing the harvest of everybody on purpose to sell them a cure that doesn't even work. But fortunately the harpy that was only looking for her pet, when you help her recover it gives you a potion that makes everything normal again. And as a prize for the event you get an embroidered sweater with pumpkin motifs. A vampire in Hogsmeade that you unlock in 5th year, and as a prize it gives you a recharging point when you unlock the Statue of the Witch. During this quest, strange events start happening in Hogsmeade, like a thick fog and voices that seem to sound inside the minds of people. This, alongside with other events, gives the impression that there's a vampire in the area, and although in the end you discover that it was just Todd Creeps faking to be a vampire to steal a creature, you discover that there was actually a vampire in the area, but not causing the disruptions but trying to search them. And when she discovers that you were doing the same, instead of getting in your way, she to some extent collaborates with you. The story of Pumpkin Johnny that you unlock in 3rd year. In this mission, Hagrid tells you the legend of Johnny Pumpkin, but he makes the mistake of telling it not only to you and Penny, but also to Merula and Ismelda. And those two take this as the perfect opportunity to play a prank by terrorizing the school disguised as Johnny Pumpkin and casting the Maleforce curse. And although in the end Merula gets her karma because she gets the same curse with a pumpkin on her head, the prank still gets out of hand and she and Ismelda do not learn their lesson because they try to repeat it in the forest again. And there you confront them with Tulip, and the prank finishes until you defeat them in a duel. After that you go back to the Halloween banquet in Hogwarts and everything seems to be alright, but suddenly a figure disguised as Johnny Pumpkin approaches you and you think it is Ben, and when he asks you if you learned your lesson or not, after replying him, in my case I said yes, I don't know what happens if you say no, but in my case I said yes, he leaves and you get a disguise like his as a prize. And in case you were wondering, it was not Ben, because 1 second later Ben Cooper appears behind you. The apparition of Pumpkin Johnny that you unlock in 3rd year as well after completing his story. On this event, Ismelda is trying to summon Johnny Pumpkin on Halloween by saying his name 3 times in the greenhouse of the school. But when she does this, instead of summoning Johnny, she causes haunted skeletons to appear in Godric's Hollow, and the skeletons start moving towards Hogsmeade. Where they eventually corner you and Ismelda in Dominic Maestro's shop, and you two have to use the spell Rick to Sempra to try to push them away. And although the spell does work at the beginning, you realize that you are outnumbered, that you cannot defeat all of them like that. So you and Ismelda remember that Johnny Pumpkin lives in the Forbidden Forest, and you decide to lure the skeletons there, where you finally defeat him. And although Ismelda does apologize and says that she learned her lesson, that she's not gonna be doing summonings again and what have you, then in the banquet you learn that she hasn't learned shit. Because when Tonks tells you that she suspects it was a student from Hogwarts, and you decide to keep the secret, or at least I did not rat on Ismelda, her reply to you is great, now I'm planning what I'm gonna do next year, but on the same line of pranks that usually get out of hand. But at any rate, the price for completing this mission is a recharging point for pages in a violin that you can find in Dominic Maestro's shop. Bargaining with banshees that you unlock in 50 years. Andrea tells Penny and MC that there are weird events happening around the Black Lake, so you decide to go search. And when you arrive to the area, you find Ben Cooper fainted, but with a set of headphones on his head. So you start theorizing of who could have caused this or what could have caused it, and when you conclude it could have been a creature, you think particularly of a banshee, because those creatures can kill with their voice unless your ears are protected. And this theory strengthens when you find Madame Sprout fainted in her classroom, but wearing earmuffs since she was taking care of the mandrakes. And although McGonagall tells you to stay away from the situation because it's dangerous, and the spirit unit from the Ministry of Magic has already been called, I at least told her that I was not gonna stay out of it, that I wanted to help, and then McGonagall just tells you to please be careful. And later in the mission you discover that, although not on purpose, Penny was actually the one that caused the banshees to come to Hogwarts, because when she bought a hair comb without knowing where it came from, she inadvertently broke a pact between a banshee and a human that took place centuries ago, because back then the banshee and a human made an exchange objects, and the only way to conclude that pact was for the original owners of the objects to exchange them back. But when Penny bought the hair comb, inadvertently broke the pact, becoming the new owner of the object that now has to give it back. And although you can tell her to do it herself, you got yourself into this, you get out of it yourself, I personally decided to help her to become the new owner of the hair comb and deliver it myself. And when you give the hair comb to the older of the banshees, she actually takes it peacefully, and the rest of the banshees leave the area with her. So when the spirit unit person asks you what you think of these beings after this experience, my answer personally was that they are complex, that they are neither good nor bad, they are complex to understand, they are different from us, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad. But since humans still do not understand them well, the way I see it, it's better to just leave them be. And although this mission doesn't have very special prizes, just experience points, gems, and I think coins, for me the story definitely compensated for the lack of prizes. If you like this countdown about the Halloween events in Hogwarts Mystery, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so YouTube lets you know when I upload the next video. Mrs. Midnight loves you, hopes to see you next time, and although I'm super late to wish you a happy Halloween, I still hope you had fun that day.